Chief executives of 145 companies are urging the Senate to pass a gun control law. They're saying that, that gun violence in Chicago, Newport News, Virginia, and other places, they're calling it a public health crisis. No, see, opioid addiction is a public health crisis. Vaping looks like it's becoming a public health crisis. Gun violence, I'm talking about school shootings primarily, not the kind of gun violence that comes out as a result of inner city, no security, no accountability, no prosecution, no offending anybody, protecting illegal aliens. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about gun violence that is a mental illness. And you want to talk about public health crisis, that's the public health crisis. And nobody yet has put forth a bill that says, hey, I got news for you, Mr. Principal of the high school. You know this kid can be violent, and he then acts out and and commits murder on campus. Guess what? You, Mr. Principal, are going to be prosecuted as an accessory of murderer. Okay? That's the kind of law that ought to be put into place. You want to stop it in the schools? Tell the teachers that called that out. Tell the teachers that saw that student, that understand that student has maybe a mental issue problem. It's not just a special needs problem. It's a mental issue problem. How about the counselor that knows that student has issues and hasn't done anything about all of them need to be prosecuted? And there ought to be a law to do it. So, oh boy, I really feel bad I didn't report it. How about you spend that time feeling bad in a jail cell? I mean, that's the way it should be. There ought to be a law for it. Nobody's going to put forth, not a Republican or a Democrat's going to put forth that law, because what is a public health crisis that is escalating totally out of control is a thing called political correctness. That's a public health crisis. I think anybody that stands in the way or stands between, whether it's a child doing the murdering or an adult that stands in between that child or adult by protecting them or not calling them out when they know something, they need to be prosecuted. And until that happens and we fix that public health crisis, we're in a lot of trouble. Oh, you can try to regulate guns if you want. Go ahead, give it a shot. You think that's going to help? Go ahead. There's some common sense regulations that we should have, sure, on a lot of things. We're not going to regulate morality, and we're not going to regulate calling out a mental illness without calling out the mental illness. The only way you're going to regulate and fix that is through accountability. The shooter in Florida had 4 misdemeanor opportunity. He had more than that. This is a kid that has a record of emails and letters of teacher after teacher after teacher saying that he had severe mental issues. He was killing and torturing animals and bragging about it. He had obsessions, as some teachers wrote, with guns and with murder. But, the head of the district and the principal, you got to mainstream, you got to bring them in. Oh, yeah, don't let him go to the bathroom without calling security first. I mean, how can you do that knowing that he's a danger and not doing something about it? Not the teachers that called it out, but the administrators that didn't do anything about it, they all need to go to jail. Hey, I want to thank you for watching the clip. We sure do appreciate it. Would you go right now, click on that subscribe button if you haven't already. That helps us. We would appreciate it. Thanks again.